Hi, my name's David. I'm a design engineer at Dyson and I work in new product development. If I was working on the DC39, I would have been making sure that all the assemblies and the parts go together. So that's about taking what MPI, New Product Innovation, have done and making sure all those parts will always be able to be manufactured and able to be used by the customer in user interaction. And that's basically how the consumer will go about using the machine, carrying it, disassembling it if they need to empty the bin. It's about making sure that the filter seals in the bin, for example, and those parts always fit together so that we don't have a lot of waste when we make it, and the consumer isn't annoyed because they can't put their vacuum back together after they've emptied it. It's really varied. Every day we're doing something different. There's a whole kind of cycle around designing and building and testing something, which is specify, design, build, test, analyze. And that creates a whole range of jobs that you need to do when you're engineering something. If you're specifying something, you're finding out you're doing a bit of like user testing, perception testing, finding out what the product needs to do and needs to be, what the consumer wants. Really good pickup, or it's not too hard to push along the carpet, stuff like that. If you're designing something in new product development, it's more about the detailed design, getting down to the nitty-gritty of how it's going to go together and be made. So we do that in CAD at first. We like to make things though, so we use our CAD programs to export files that we can have prototyped and get something that we can hold and look at and test and make sure that it's all going to go together properly and it doesn't fall apart when you try and use it. And then, as I say, we test it, make sure that it's performing to really good standards and people aren't hating how you use it, or they're enjoying the movement and it's performing to our expected level, which is very high. Well, I tend to get bored really easily, so I need a job that's really fast-paced. Engineering has that. It means that when your project timeline is ticking along, you have to keep up with it and you have to do lots of different steps in between that. I mentioned earlier about CAD and doing drawings, sketching, making prototypes and testing. And that whole cycle can take ages, but it keeps it really varied. So I love the practical side, which we get to do a lot of in engineering, which is great. Making prototypes is really fun, and you get to put it through its paces afterwards and make sure that your design is a good design and it's done well. And that side of it, that making and creating, is something that I've always loved. So it's great to be able to do it as a job. Well, as I say, I've always loved to create things. I made some pretty sketchy go-karts when I was younger, and I was always playing with Lego, cutting bits of wood up in my dad's garage. And that love for making and creating and designing and doing things that allow you to produce something never really stopped. So in school I studied design and technology, 3D product design basically, IT, maths and physics. And that led on to me studying product design in uni, which was great. Lots of prototyping in that. And then it led straight into this job.